The time is now 7:05. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Steph, can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Ali,
Present.
Commissioner Daniel, Commissioner Dillard, Commissioner Gathua,
Present.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Rivera,
Here.
and Commissioner Traore.
Here.
All right. Next, we'll move on to the reading of the land acknowledgement. Does anyone else want to read it? Are you cool with me reading it?
I'll read it.
Cool.
We meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homelands of the Native American nations to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homelands of the Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk. And because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memory, we also acknowledge the ancient connections of many other Indigenous peoples here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossessed Indigenous peoples of their homelands was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparations.
Thank you, Kevo. Next, we have the approval of the minutes from March 22nd. I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Does anyone have any discussion about that? Anyone on Zoom? Cool.
Commissioner Ali,
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel,
Muted.
Yes.
Commissioner Gathua,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yep.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Rivera,
Yes.
and Commissioner Traore.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, next we're going to move on to public comment of items not on the agenda. Just a reminder, the TRC commissioners will not engage in discussion with the public concerning said items. We'll start with the folks on Zoom. Is there anyone that wants to make a public comment? Raise your hand. Is there anyone in this room that would like to make a public comment? All right. Let's move on to agenda item number 6. This was kind of a last minute thing, approval of the TRC logo. So do you have that picture up, Stephanie? Do you have access to it from what I sent you? Or I can.
Yeah, it's gonna take me a second. I'll go to the city website and pull up the packet.
I do. Do I have screen sharing permissions?
I can give it to you here.
Okay. All right. Have they been added? I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little blurry, but now that the public who is on Zoom and who is here has seen it, I want to give members of the public who are on Zoom an opportunity to make a comment if they choose to do so. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment in person? Okay, so we'll go ahead and have a discussion or look at it really quick. I'll tell you, I made this just in my free time. I thought that it would be important to have a logo considering a part of the budget proposal goes towards doing something for the diversity market. And I think that if we get this facilitator proposal approved, I think it's going to be important to have a way to identify ourselves since there was really nothing ever proposed or given to us from the beginning.
There was a logo.
Was there?
Yeah, there's a logo. It's the city logo with ad hoc truth and reconciliation. If anybody's on Instagram and you go to the city's Instagram page, you'll see a posting they did for the meeting and you can look at it then. But yeah, that's pretty much been there.
Are we allowed to use this one
Yeah,
instead going forward with
Yep,
like
you can use-
diversity market and
Yep.
activities for the TRC?
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm going to make a motion to use this logo for the ad hoc. Mohammed, do you want to go ahead?
Just one quick thing I wanted to say. One, Amel, I know you had said that, hey, this is just something I made in my free time, but I want to just make sure we don't just gloss over that before this vote. I want to thank you for taking the time to do so, free time or not. Two, for having the consideration to even think of such a thing. I know the city, whatever logo they had, to me, it's more powerful if it was people within the group in itself, especially being a first of its kind within the state, are putting in the time and effort to add their own pieces, add their own flavor to it. I think that it's a great logo. I've told you so privately, but I just want to make sure this is known publicly. You are one, an exceptional part of this commission, but two, irreplaceable. I'm so happy to have you as a part of it. With that, I yield the floor.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Harris had a comment to make next.
Yeah, being that I never knew that we had a logo, and being that you made this, what made this logo exceptional is said you made it in your free time, and I liked it when I first seen it. So when I seen it on the actual agenda packet, I liked it. What I do want to say is that I do appreciate you, using your free time to make something like that, because I just like it. You kind of downplayed it, but in your free time, that's just I like it. Also, I want to know if that after this meeting and we're done with this, can this logo be shared to all the members, like on this commission, so they can use it for different things, and also maybe at some point or maybe later on, we can maybe find a way to get a shirt or a hat with the logo. I don't know how that process would go, but we do need to. I think I'm good with that logo. I like it. So
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate those comments. And I see that there's someone from the attendees that wants to make a comment. If you guys are cool with it, I would like to allow V to make a comment.
yep.
Hold on, I don't know what I did here.
V. There.
Hey, yeah, I thank you so much for doing this. I just love when logos and things emerge and as part of like origin stories of commissions and groups that form. I was just wondering if we could kind of gain insight as to your thoughts and feelings behind it, like how it was created, just so we can like have that on record too, as part of the genesis of this commission.
Yeah. So it's actually a really funny thing what I did. I sat in my room alone on a Friday night and looked at all of the flags in Africa. I am Sudanese, and I looked at the main colors that are in the flags and the colors that stand out to me, the colors that I think are important. And the way that I did the sizing for truth, I thought that should be the biggest word. I think that's one of the biggest aspects and one of the most important things about this commission, and one of my favorite things about this commission. And obviously the and reconciliation, not being as big. I think green is a beautiful, vibrant color. And it's also present in a lot of like the African flags and things like that. And I wanted to make that point clear so that if anyone wanted to change any colors or anything like that, I went through a bunch of things like doing like rainbows and purples and like things like that. But these colors really jived well together, I thought. I'm totally not an artistic person, so I'm very open to hearing any other criticisms about it. But yeah, I was just pretty much like looking through all the flags in Africa and trying to decide which colors stood out to me, depending on which word it was. Thanks for that question. That was a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
This is Commissioner Rivera. I really like this logo, and I too am very appreciative of your willingness to create one. I think out of true need and necessity and purpose, and I like that also the point of us creating one for us, right? Because there really isn't anyone in the city who represents this group quite like we do ourselves. That being said, I'm a little bit conflicted because I personally am on this commission with a primary goal of addressing sort of racial inequities specifically towards Black people in this community. And so I really appreciate sort of the particular attention to the flags of Africa. I'm sensitive to the fact that there are other folks in this community who
of course.
would are also marginalized and in different ways but in contrasting ways. I'm uncomfortable with proceeding with this logo without the comment and opinion and discussion that I think would be fruitfully provided by our other non-Black member of this commission, because I just generally appreciate the fact that I think concurrently with paying attention to the rights of Black people in this community, we've also, I think, intentionally really tried to focus on Indigenous communities in this commission. And with our acknowledgement and with the other work that we've done, I'd really like for us to just spend a little bit more time considering the inputs that go into our logo and in terms of how we want to represent ourselves.
Thank you for that feedback. I'm going to go to Zoom. Daphne.
Daphne, you're on mute.
Queen of the staying on
Thank
mute.
you. I keep doing that. But I totally agree. Maybe just looking at the flags of the different countries in Africa, while a good place to start, there are other, I mean, there are people in the Caribbean and South America and Central America. And it's a good place to start, but we need to remember that the diaspora of misplaced peoples, for whatever reason, it's global. And so I'd like for us to kind of our logo not to reflect necessarily one background or even one continent. But I understand why this may be a monumental task. And thank you, Commissioner Ali. All right, thank you.
And really quick, Mohammed, before you talk, I do want to make a point that, like while my main focus was looking at all of the flags in Africa, that just happens to be because that is where I am from. And choosing the colors, I was cognizant of the fact that a lot of these colors were colors that were predominant in Latinx flags, along with flags in other part of the world where some of our underestimated communities come from. Mohammed, go ahead.
Thank you. I do want to say that before I make my comments, I want to preface this with there is the phrase of everything before the word but is BS, but in this case, everything before the word but is also completely believed by myself. I do agree with the fact that, we should look to get other input on this, and that we should talk to the rest of the commissioners as well that have not made this meeting, and get their input, whether that's publicly or privately, however they prefer, and then look to vote on this on the next meeting if that sounds like that's kind of where we're steering towards. But as well, I do want to acknowledge the fact that, at least from what I've heard and what I believe, we do all come from the same area and same place in terms of evolutionary history, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe as well. And that to me, that place is known as today as Africa. And I do see these logo and the colors still representing all of us, but that's me again from my view. And I am eager to hear the views of others as we talk about this more and come to a better consensus. And with that, I yield the floor.
Does anyone in the that's physically here want to make a comment before I make one last comment regarding this?
This is Commissioner Wangui Gadua. And thank you very much, Amel, for Commissioner Ali, for all the work that you put in as far as the logo is concerned. Since we started our work, I never thought of even a logo. And thank you, Stephanie, for letting us know that there is somewhat one. When Commissioner Ali mentioned the flags of Africa, I am from Africa, and some of the flags she mentioned, I usually wear one. I will add that sometime this year, when the USA grants me their citizenship, and the Kenyan flag resembles, in the colors, resembles a lot of the Latin American countries' flags, and Sudan, as Amel would remember. All that being said, for me, when she said you mentioned the flags of Africa, it reminded me of the work of this commission, truth and fact-finding on racial discrimination, and then reconciliation. Yes, countries of Africa and other places that were colonized and enslaved, they do have flags, yes, with colors representing life, freedom, and all that. But it's a work in progress. I have studied and I have taught history. So I know that that freedom is political. Economically, psychologically, we are still a work in progress. And this is one of the things we shall hear, and we have already heard, is that oppression is still very present. So what I'm getting to, or what I'm trying to say, is that when we mentioned the flags of Africa, just like with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, freedom is still a work in progress in the countries that were, and peoples that were oppressed. We are not yet there. There is all the rest of the freedoms to be attained. It's these words and these thoughts and these documented facts that I want us to keep in mind as we proceed and as we continue discussing the logo that Commissioner Ali laboriously drafted for us. If you'll allow me to use the word draft right now, I will yield.
I think, not to belabor the point, I wonder if we can move away from the idea of like being beholden to the inspiration of flags. I think flags brings up, maybe for a lot of folks, including myself, a lot of complicated feelings regarding nationalism, and also sort of colonialism and empire, which like no continent is removed from, right? And so even in our community, for example, we have a lot of people who come from different countries, but might have very different relationships with the governments of those countries and the flags that those countries represent and the governments of those countries, right? Because a lot of people might come to the United States because they weren't able to avail themselves of the rights of those countries. And so it just brings up a lot of, I think, complicated feelings. I think there's a lot of other ways that we can decide on a color scheme that doesn't have to do with flags, that will ultimately be a little bit more unifying for, and maybe that, you know, all of us and all people within this community can find themselves represented in.
As Commissioner Johnson, I'm under the impression this is the first draft or something like that, right? Just kind of getting it checked out. So we will be coming up with a few different concepts, or were we deciding that tonight?
No, I if I could make the last comment about this, if that's okay. So I've been taking notes this whole time. And I want to acknowledge and completely agree with what you say. As parents who are political asylums, I could definitely understand how that might be a sensitive subject to some other folks. So I think that the best process or best way to go about this moving forward is I can switch this file to a PDF, and I will email Stephanie. And then I think, and I will talk to Sakawis outside of this meeting. But I think that if you guys could get me ideas, hopefully, let's say a week from today, and that doesn't even mean you have to draw something out, like say the colors, we should think of this, this, and this. If you guys could get something to me by next Thursday on the 25th, and then I can work on a few ideas before our next meeting, I think that would be really, really helpful. That way I can get all of your input, whether it be change the word truth into this color, have the background be this, or whatever it may be. Like I said, you don't need to draw it out or anything, but if you guys are all okay with just shooting me some ideas that you might have, that way I can draft up some logo ideas. Does that sound cool?
Yeah.
And if you don't have an opinion, it's totally fine to not send one. And if you just want to kind of look at all of them and vote on one later, that's totally fine as well. So I will email Stephanie after this and have Stephanie send out all of that information. That way that we can all be kind of on the same page at the next meeting. Does that sound okay?
Yeah,
Cool.
I would just say something quick. Yeah, that sounds okay. I like the design of the logo, the coloring. I can understand why some people, you know, they may have concerns about the coloring of it, because even in, you know, countries in Africa and even with Black nationalist movements in the United States, the colors, I don't know about yellow, but the color black, red, and green, it means something. Black is for the color of our skin, red is for the earth that we live on, and I mean, yeah, green is for the earth that we live on, and red is for the blood that has been shed. So that's what a lot of those colors in those countries. So that's why I understand why some of the other members will say, hey, it's, you know, it's mostly a African nationalist, you know, kind of a thing, you know, because that's what those colors mean, you know, in those flags, especially the red and the green. You know, it's the earth that they live on, and the black is the color of their skin, and the red is the blood that has been shed by colonization and other different things. So that's what those colors mean. So with that, I yield. I mean, I like the design, but I do understand the concerns about the colors. You know, I do agree that we need more input on the colors.
This is Commissioner Johnson. I have a thought on, because we are dealing with something that is a universal, and so many other truth and reconciliation commissions are here on earth. Why don't we have an earth symbol of it and then have the words around it to kind of
Yeah,
So something like that would be something that would be awesome to be sent in an email
yeah.
to Stephanie and shared with me, not to discuss, it was just on the agenda. It just says to discuss this logo.
Just make it
So,
all green.
yep, send me all of your thoughts and I will work on the rest and I will let Stephanie know. But with that being said, I'd like to move on to agenda item number 7.
Chair, I was just going to mention to answer Commissioner Harris's question. Once the group does decide on a logo, it's not a problem to get merchandise like hats and t-shirts. So if somebody wants to look into that and then just send me what, you want ordered, then I can.
And I can do that. I have access to that. So for the discussion on the facilitator proposal, it's going to be mostly focused on the budget. And we're going to kind of do things the same way that we've been doing them the last few meetings, letting the facilitator team present first. Then we'll allow public comment for questions. And then after that, we can have commission discussion. I want to make it clear that we're not going to be voting on anything today. This is going to be having a discussion and giving, and mainly our focus for this meeting, I would like it to be on the local process. The local process is going to be what keeps this going in the long run. Kearns and West and Think Peace aren't going to be here forever. So with that being said, I want to give the floor to those guys. V or Angie, do either of you guys have the ability to share your screen and share the budget slide?
I'm just gonna be super honest. I got kiddos running around spring break. I can do it. V, if you're in a different position in which you could do it easier, I just want to lean on you.
Yeah. Yep. Just give me a second to pull up. I wasn't sure what we needed to have prepared for tonight, so I apologize. If you just give me 1 second here, I can find that.
Do not worry. Kearns and West has to facilitate another thing tonight. Eduardo is in New York and he's in the process of moving back to Peru full time. So that's why it's kind of difficult for him to make this meeting. But I just wanted to give you guys that heads up.
Thank you, V.
We love you.
Mel, just while V's pulling that up, just kind of backtrack and replay what you had just said. My focus is with you now in terms of what you're hoping the TRC can get out of this time together and how we can be helpful as possible local providers of services.
See them getting it. Look at what's happening. If you have a computer in front of you, do you know that?
Okay, sorry. Kearns and West has a lot of safety protocols for accessing the documents.
If you look up Kyle's email and then it should send you a code.
I found it. So let me just get it here and share my screen here. Okay.
Yay.
Yay. And bath time is about to happen in my house, so it may not be as quiet as we had hoped.
No, Love the kids of the hopeful future facilitator.
So yeah, this is the spreadsheet that we were given. And they've broken it down by tasks. And there's another sheet that is a timeline as well. With this budget, you can see kind of where everybody is. The blue is where our local partners, and Angie and Annie and I are still, we're actually meeting tomorrow to kind of work through some of this some more. I think that some of the things worth noting, convening and understanding is kind of like kicking off things, doing some background research. We are involved in that process, and we talked quite a bit about, how we would be involved. We want to make sure that there are local components to the creation of some of the process, and that it's not, while you see me and Angie and Annie here, it's not just us. So we are also pushing for like another core of people having funding to assist in all of this and to learn, because as Amel, you just said, like Kearns and West will leave someday. And so we need to do that here, have those at home. You can see that was the first part. The second task is design a fact-finding, truth-telling reconciliation process. That's like the interviews, going door to door, some of the communication. The diversity markets are in here. This right here, conversation core process design. So teaching people how to host the conversations, how to host the interviews. That's that part in there. And then the design for the outreach in general. And we're involved in that as kind of local parties, in addition to others that can help direct, like, how to reach people and what that could look like. So we'll be a part of that process. And then there's some for printing and things like that. And then task 3 is the fact-finding, truth-telling public process. So you can see kind of like training people to, again, do the conversations, the fact-finding meetings, hosting large in-person events, circle events. So you can see kind of where we're located. And again, we're meeting tomorrow, but you can see where they've got placeholders for us. And again, the TRC meetings, like working with you all on, the strategies, agendas, presentations. I think that Kearns and West is really doing a lot of that. We're not really highlighted in that as much. And then putting the report together. So I don't think that they have the total cost. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but I just wanted to show you where we're kind of located is a lot of the, hosting of events, trying to figure out what's the strategy for outreach, hosting circle events, diversity markets, and things like that. Some of the creation of the processes. I'm sure that was clear as mud. So let me know what questions you have.
This is Commissioner Rivera. So my understanding is that the budget that you just showed us, while it's a really, really good start, isn't complete. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
And those like blue
What do you
boxes that currently have nothing input, you're planning on providing numerals for those in the next coming days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so if you don't mind, Fee, do you actually mind keeping that screen up, maybe minimizing it just like a little bit so we can have like a broader picture of it?
Yeah. I kind of did something weird. Hold on a second. Just refresh it. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Let me minimize it more.
It's down at like the bottom right or something.
Yeah.
There it is.
Maybe.
Can I add something?
Of course, yeah. You're a part of this team.
Can you see that? Sorry, just real
Really
quick. Is that better?
Didn't really get that.
Beautiful. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
I didn't really get that this was how the meeting was going to go. I didn't understand this. But I guess what I'd like to add is this was handed to us, and when I see all these tasks on the left, I would encourage you guys, let's see, we've had a chance, we asked to spend time with Eduardo.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to do that. And so I would really, I think the backstory here is that you will get that kind of conversation so that you give direction to how this goes, that it's not just handed to you. Does that make sense? And if that's what you want, I encourage you to be that. Yeah, because it's, to me, it feels a little bit like an odd process to have these people handing you a menu, and that's the process they know to do. But on the ground, there's so much wisdom and understanding here and commitment that I want you to know that when I look at this, like you guys are in that. You guys are a source of any part of it that you want and have a say. And when I look at that flat screen, I don't see that, but in my imagination and encouragement, that's what I would say. So I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah.
Check.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if there's anything else you want to add, Annie, feel free to scoot up and stand there and come say anything. You're a part of this presentation, so you have the floor.
All right. I guess the thing that I would really want you to know is that we feel really strongly. I mean, we had the idea that there should be a core of people so that there's local capacity. The good news was that Eduardo said, yeah, that's part of our plan, but it isn't really obvious here. And so we're asking them to make that obvious. So when you think of people that you want involved in making things happen, and when you see these tasks, be contacting those folks and say, I want you to be part of this team in making what we do happen. So I just want to encourage that piece too. And I'll just stay right here. Thanks.
Perfect. So since we're kind of at the end of that presentation, we've got that up. If it's okay, if you want to leave that up for just a little bit longer, are you able to see if there are people in the public? I'm talking to, if she can see people in the public that are raising their hands. Now would be a good time to make public comment.
Is Chastity?
Yeah, I would. Okay, perfect. Commissioners, or is there someone in the public here that would like to make a comment? Commissioners? Go ahead.
I think this is a great start. It's really, really helpful to see sort of the line item breakdown and the expectations among all the different parties, right? We're doing something that's really hard, right? We're asking for both the expert in truth telling and reconciliation processes to partner with a bunch of really amazing rock stars who have a number of gifts and expertise working in our local community. And so it's really hard. I think that I'm not great at budgets. I don't have a great background in sort of knowing the consulting fees of folks who would do similar tasks. So it's really hard for me to make a lot of informed decisions. I think to a certain extent, we were pretty comfortable as a commission in receiving somewhat of a menu of quotes from Kearns and West initially, right? They said, here are all the procedures that we can provide. Here's what we think that we're worth. And it was up to us to decide, yes, it's worth the investment based on sort of their proposed value of themselves. And so I'd like to hear what our local partners, think that they can contribute. To be honest, I don't even know. So for example, like task 2A, conduct interviews via phone, video conference, email, electronic survey. Like I see a number under a think piece of just over $7,000. And I don't know if right now, if we think that our local partners plan to do the bulk of that work more so than think piece, or sort of a comparable amount of work, or maybe just like serve in a support role. So it's just really hard for me, I guess, to think about this holistically, and to even know how to suggest moving it forward without knowing how our partners would position themselves in the numbers.
And before anyone answers that, just so with this like conversation regarding the budget, I want to say I'm not sure, and you could, or regarding the facilitator, I think this conversation has been happening since December. December, maybe, I think. And I'm really wanting some of the other members of the commission to take this on and give their opinions. We have meetings every week, and I send those Zooms out, and I give the opportunity, or if you guys can make time for yourself to communicate with these people, because I don't, like Kevo was saying, like, they're not very good at this budget stuff. That's the same with me. I'm very clocked out. I don't want to be able to give someone a price on the expertise that they can give, because I don't really feel like I have a good grasp of that. I think it would be extremely helpful if some of the commission members really prioritized finding time to communicate with either Larry or Eduardo or Dave. These guys are incredible, and the input that you know, even hearing that question from you, Kev, I was like, wow, I actually didn't really think about that, but I'm not someone that thinks that way. And so that's why there's kind of been like this long ongoing every other week kind of working step by step, little by little. And it's not anyone else's fault, because I know our lives are busy. But I really need you guys to work and try to communicate with these people who are giving us this proposal outside of these meetings, because those times are when you can have those open-ended discussions and just, you know, for lack of a better term, shoot the shit with them, really understand where they're coming from. It's, yeah, and I've said this to Mo, I'm not a huge fan of budgets. It doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies like the rest of the work does. So I do think that Kevo's question was a really good question with regarding what our local partners think that they can contribute as far as, what did you say, 2A?
Or all of them.
Or yeah, that was just one example. So I think that's a good question. So if either Annie or V or Angie want to respond to that.
I think if I may have the floor to add something before Angie responds, because I'm thinking what I'm saying relates to that. The way it's looking to me, we had an approved budget by the council. The budget, hold on. I see you, Commissioner Harris, shaking your head.
No, I'm done. No,
Okay.
nothing you said. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll piggyback this on what Commissioner Kevo said, that we had a proposal by Kansas West, a budget that it made sense to me. Now, to me, what we are needing is adding our locals to that, which is in blue and was explained. And I think Kevo still brought that out. It's blank. So what I am thinking we are needing is them slotted in, and Daniels added there and how it's going to look. And we'll also go to something, Annie, you brought out about the commissioners reaching out for other people who can be part of the facilitator. And I'm asking myself, how public have we made this that we are looking for this? Because that is why the council sent us back there in this facilitator process to get local input. And I'm asking myself, does our public in our communities know that we are looking for this? Is there a different way of doing it, of making it known, other than for us to bring in whom we know? How do we reach them so that they can put themselves forward? With that, I yield.
I think we were headed in a really good direction with reaching out to those communities. Like when we made that list of people we could reach out to, different organizations and nonprofits. I think that's really going to be where like the meat of this whole entire getting it to work is going to be really partnering with other people who already have the trust of the communities that we are trying to gain the trust of or get integrated in or teach them about what this process is or things like that. I know you had something. I don't want to interrupt you, Annie. You can go ahead.
No, I got something.
Oh, you got something? Go ahead.
This is Commissioner Harris. So I look forward to this budget being completed so I can get the full scope and view of it. Because right now I'm kind of like some of the other members. I don't know what's going on with this. It's just not completed. It needs to be completed. But one thing that that bothers me, and this always bothered me when we came down to getting this budget, because just like other people said, you know, I'm not good at budgets either, and it needs to be explained to me a couple times probably. But one of the things is that, you know, it has a lot of items that says to be conducted by like TRC members, and I don't like coming to TRC meetings and not saying what I want to say. So I'm gonna have to get it out of the way. You know, it has all these, you know, itemized, you know, amounts of money that's going to be paid to people. But just something as simple as, you know, I've missed and not been present or had to stay at home and Zoom, not because of COVID, because I'm not afraid of COVID, but just because of something simple as childcare. That's zero inside of this for any of us. We already know the stipend thing. We ain't even gonna talk about that because we already know how the pushback about that would be. But it doesn't have anything in here. So right now, and I know that was mentioned that this is not something that we're going to vote on today. So it's just something that we can look at. But I would hope that something will be put into that, you know, because not everybody has young children like I do. But me personally, if it's not something that's going to be helping out with childcare for children, I'm definitely going to oppose any vote, like any budget like that at all. Like, I don't need a stipend, but, you know, some people live different lives and regular lives, and we have children and things to take care of. And some of the TRC activities, you know, that takes away from that at times. And we have to find coverage and miss meetings or stay at home to be on Zoom, or, you know, even some people that talk, you know, and make public comments, they have children running around in the background, and they have to deal with that and they're not getting $1 for that. They're just doing that, you know, based off, you know, this is what they want to do. So I just think it's totally unfair. I don't want to put this back into the debate of the budget because we all been through that enough, you know, but I mean, it's just something that I can't leave here without saying, you know, that some of this, because it's a lot of things. It says handled by TRC members. It has a lot of things handled by TRC members. Well,
Guys, it's
Yeah,
left
I
blank
think-
because
can
I
I-
didn't
can I-
feel fair making a choice for you guys. I didn't want to make a choice.
can I
I'm the
respond?
only one that's there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Without
yeah.
you needing to get emotional, I don't think that you need to. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't call people
Yeah.
emotional, right? To respond to that point, I think this isn't like the budget for the TRC, right? This is the facilitator budget. So
Yeah.
I think that there's opportunity for us to have a really important discussions like that, Commissioner
Yeah.
Harris,
Yeah.
in terms of how we continue to fund our process and the work that we do.
Right.
I think that, those propositions can come at a later time as we know more about, the work that we're doing with the strategic plan and
Right.
ongoing proposals.
That's what I said. Like today, we're not going to vote on it, but I'm just saying, like, I hope that at some point in time, because it has,
Right.
like 2-hour workshops.
Yeah.
And
Well, I guess, yeah.
2 hours out of my day
Yeah.
is a lot of time.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is, it makes sense to me also that one possibility is that we vote on the facilitator budget separately from other proposals that help us support our work, especially because, there's been controversy over that in the past, and I want our facilitators to be removed from controversy as much as possible.
Right. I'm just saying, yeah. So I understand that, and explaining it like that makes it more understandable, because I was just looking at it like,
I'm really appreciative of your work, Vice Chair. I know that it's been really frustrating because you've been putting in far more work hours compared to all of us.
Yeah.
And right now, I think that the discussion that we're having sounds like critique, and it sounds like
No.
I think that we're just helping to try to guide discussion on what we hope the next phase is, right? And so right now we're seeing an unfinished budget proposal, and I think we're providing input on what we hope will be completed by the next time we convene. And I don't think that needs to be taken.
I don't take that part personally at all. I promise you I don't. It's just that.
Yeah, I didn't mean it. No, personal.
You're good. You're good. I just want to be able to finish where it seems like frustration or emotion is coming from. My frustration and emotion is coming from the fact that I'm the only person that's involved in these conversations outside of meetings, where I think longer discussions and more intimate discussions need to be had. And I've given people the opportunity to be present at those meetings, and nobody's taken advantage of it. So it just really hurts. I don't feel like you guys are all critiquing me, not at all. I don't feel like that in the slightest, because I don't know what these numbers should or shouldn't look like. I have no idea. I'm just saying it's frustrating for me to have been putting extra hours into this, to coordinate, to meet with these folks, to meet with our local people, to arrange and facilitate meetings with them and Eduardo. And then all of these questions or discussions that could have been really awesome during those meetings. They're not long meetings. We meet for 50 minutes at a time, Zoom. There's a doodle poll. We all decide, and it's just nobody's really been on that. That's just where my frustration comes from. And I know how eager you guys are to get this process going and to move to one meeting a week. So it's just, I'm glad that you guys are saying what you're saying, because the things that you are questioning regarding the budget are really important. They're things I would have never thought of, because that's not where my brain is good at being with discussions like this. So I'm really appreciative of all your guys' comments.
I would say I appreciate the extra work that you put in and the contact that you put in with people. I will also note that knowing that you've been going through all that makes me more aware. So I'd be willing to, help out more with it, but it's been a long process. And so some people, and just myself personally, I don't know about anybody else, but as far as, finding the budget or getting the budget agreed to, it's been a long process. It's been long overdue. So it becomes, a frustrating thing at times, so you might see an email to say, hey, we need to get this budget together. And you might see a different email and you're like, man, we've been doing this for about a year. So, and I understand your frustration as well. It's just frustrating at times, but I can say that I would definitely engage more and try to engage more, but it's been a long time coming.
And I think we'll need a pause.
Yeah. Pause. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's definitely, I understand. I feel the same way. So.
Just because we haven't met quorum currently, we'll need to pause the discussion.
For sure.
do this thing.
So I guess, I guess I could say that I'll be willing to help out more, and I would like to hear more input from, and see the budget get filled in by the local groups. That's what I'm mostly interested in. I definitely want to see the full thing and things like that. And I just want to be, it needs to be consideration for the TRC members' time as well. So that's it. I appreciate that, Emil has put in a lot of work trying to get this together, but it's been, it's kind of hard to get others engaged in when it's been a process we've been going through for I don't know how long. And I think the team that we got formed right now, I think it's the best one that we had. So it's the most encouraging. So, and I hope it all comes together. And with that, I yield.
Thank you, Commissioner Ali, for all the work you've been putting in outside our twice a month meetings. I haven't seen any communication. I don't mean to add pressure, but I haven't seen any communication of the other meetings outside the two that we have. Yeah, and if they've come the usual way through my email, I will check my junk mail or trash. I haven't seen any communication.
Yeah, I kind of left that part out too, but I do agree. I haven't got the communication because I would have got right on it and tried to at least help. So I don't know. We need to maybe check our emails and see if, but I haven't got that as well. So.
This is Commissioner Rivera. I do welcome more communication. I can't promise that I'll be able to attend more meetings outside of these regularly scheduled commission meetings, but I think the email is a great tool for, if we're not all able to meet at the same time, if there's a document presented for me and I can review it, then I can provide my thoughts after some time sitting with it. So that's, I don't know, maybe other folks on the commission can relate to that, but I think that there may be multiple ways that we can engage our commission members for their thoughts and opinions.
As Commissioner Johnson, I as well haven't really received much communication other than text or so every now and again. And I am pretty busy with a lot of things as well. Now that's no excuse, but at the same time, I do encourage more communication as well. And once again, I have a facility. If at any point in time we would need to meet up or need a place to meet up, I constantly take time to let other groups to utilize my facility and try to work out situations. So that's always has been and will be on the table. That's one of the reasons why I figured being a part of this commission, that would be something that I had a strength in that I can help out with. I am extremely motivated to do something positive for our community. So the more we can do, the better, especially together.
And just to add to that, I can also, if we need places to meet, I can find spaces too as well. I would add to that as well. So.
I was just going to add that I got the email for the one that just went out to everyone. So I'll, Shirley, if you don't mind, I can just send that out to the group.
Yeah.
And if I can just be included in those in the future, and then I'll just send them out to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send a text out to the Kearns and West team and make sure that they send you the copy of this Microsoft without the code on it so that everyone has access to it. But yeah, I am not sure if Commissioner Trieri is planning to be at that one, but then 2 other people can join so that we don't have quorum. Does anyone online, any of the commission members online have anything to say? Guys are all good? Okay, I have one comment from Sakawis, just because she wanted to make sure that this was something that we spoke about. So she says that she's very, very committed to paying Indigenous folks for running them and especially for consulting on them. And it's not just for Indigenous folks. She wants to make sure that if there are other types of circles that you guys are going to engage in or learn about, then she wants to make sure that there is a solid process for how they're going to be compensated for their time. And then as far as another question, and I guess I can ask Eduardo and think piece this a little bit later, but as far as the diversity market portion, would that be a place that you envision incorporating sessions there? I know there have been talks about having a stage and all of those things, or having some type of event at the diversity market. I kind of thought that it might be a good idea for the TRC to have some type of table there every weekend. I think that that's really important. So I want to hear everyone else's thoughts on that, and along with the facilitator team.
Yeah, just putting it out there. The diversity markets are, for those that aren't familiar, the origin last year was to really elevate and highlight underestimated populations of entrepreneurs. And so this first year, really working on that. The second year is our first time to integrate in our massive community resource roster in Johnson County, from nonprofits to social groups. We also are making space too for some corporate organizations, and just being super transparent. This year, we're trying to make this more sustainable, so everyone pays a fee, whether you're a nonprofit, an entrepreneur, or a corporate organization. We have a larger space, which is exciting. But that fee, just so everybody knows, that fee goes solely towards either the entertainment piece, paying entertainers, or paying the coordinator to do entertainment coordination. But the bulk of that goes towards our vendors. So that is paying for people who need to rent or possibly buy, depending on how much money we get, a generator so that they can sell and make their food on site if they don't have a table or a tent. So that money, just so you all know, when folks register and apply and get approved to become a vendor or have a table, that money all goes into supporting the vendors or the entertainment to bring and support and promote the event. That doesn't go towards the staff. We don't have any staff. That doesn't go towards any evaluation of the market that we do to try to make it better. That money doesn't go towards when we create our logo. So just really wanting to be super transparent about that. And in this budget for the diversity market, in this package, we're asking for just staff. So we have 3 market managers. They're the returning hardcore 3 that set this bad boy up last year, and creating space for an entertainment coordinator, because none of us 3 market managers does that. And we also want to empower a person of color who actually, that's his side gig and that's what he does. So working hard to get funding for that. And I just want to make that explicit in this budget. The investment for the market through this money is to invest in the staff who are already doing the work and who could be doing so much more if we can specialize in what we're doing and we have more professionals. But that's a really long-winded answer of saying, yes, please, we need the TRC there. If you all approve this budget, you're going to be expected to be there. So having a table and integrating your voice into how to make this market better while it's happening, and then also post-market, is going to be important, because we do plan to do this annually. So I don't know if you have any thoughts or questions or anything you wanted me to add, but happy to. And I'm here. Check.
This is Commissioner Johnson. What exactly do we want our table to show?
I am an imaginative person, so I envision having resources for the most underestimated populations that continue to go there. If we figure out an awesome logo and are able to create gear, we could find out the logistics of how to either profit from that gear or have like awesome engagement with, like, I think something that you're really passionate about, youth in the community, having engagement with youth in the community, whether it be something cutesy chootsy. I know Angie loves this, my bingo game that I want to do with all the vendors and things like that. I think it would be awesome towards the end of the diversity market, because I don't want to start too early to have truth telling sessions there. I think that would be really powerful as we get kind of like our feet in the water, as the diversity market starts to get their feet in the water, because like Angie said to me the other day, this is a completely big learning process. And I think it's going to be really exciting, especially considering where it is now. So I envision a multitude of different things. And I'm really excited about it. And I wanted to ask if all of like that budget information was in like that first proposal that you guys had sent a while back. All of that for like, it was pieced out and stuff. Okay, perfect. So we have access to that somewhere. Okay, I can find it and make sure that it gets re-forwarded to the rest of the commission. So at least they have an idea of what that money goes towards. Does anyone have any questions?
So for our next meeting, are we going to put on there a discussion for how we want to do a setup?
I think that that would be better if that was something done within like the parts that we're going to be paying Think Piece for and working with the local. I think Think Piece is going to be our biggest help as far as training and learning how to talk about this, because I think that's something that kind of maybe isn't on the front end of everyone's mind, but it has been a lot on the front end of my mind, especially lately, is how to communicate with folks who have truth to tell. I want to be really sensitive and learn how to handle that situation delicately and learn what to do or what the right things to say are, because I'm not sure that, minus Kevo, most of us are equipped to deal with some of the things that we might hear. So I think Piece is going to be a really important factor in that. Dave Ragland from the Truth Telling Project is incredible. And we all know how amazing Eduardo is. So, and that's why I would like to have those truth telling sessions a little bit more towards the end of the diversity market, so that we feel a little bit more comfortable having those, you know, with just a few commissioners there every time.
I would definitely like to be involved. I would like to
yeah.
help set up the table or whatever we need to do. I have a few ideas and thoughts in mind, and I feel like this is a good opportunity. So I would definitely like to be involved.
I've got a flyer with all the dates that I can give you right after this meeting. You're welcome, Angie.
Well, I would definitely say I would definitely love other commissioners to be involved. I think last summer, me, Angie, and a group of other folks, we kind of freestyled it. We would have 40 or 50 tents and tables and all this stuff to take down. We just, as long as we got it done, we got it done, and that was just that. So I would definitely love to see more commission. That's definitely, instead of, just me taking down tables, or me and Jason Jordan taking down tables and tents, and Mohammed like directing traffic. I would love to see more participation, as many as we can have. As long as we can stay within quorum, is definitely helping over there with that.
Does anyone else have comments regarding their portion of the budget? Or I make my last.
Okay.
Does anyone on Zoom have any comments to make regarding this discussion?
I just wanted to say, I know that we didn't have our portion of the budget filled out, and we are working on that. But I appreciate everybody's comments, and our role is really, as local people, I think at the forefront of our minds is, this is our community, and we're trying to care for our people. And so that's always at the forefront of what we discuss and how we're putting things together, and certainly want to be held accountable for the ways in which we do that through transparency and having these conversations. So just wanted to say, I know that we didn't have everything put together, but at least now you can see where we will be kind of, located in the process. And, we'll have a much clearer sense of, to echo out others people's points, the budget, how much of our time and energy is going to be spent on these things, which, may in turn help think about, the TRC commission members and, how and where you're being applied as well, in a very curious way. I think that it's great to have these questions, particularly since, this is a huge deal. This whole process is there's nothing like it in the Midwest. So really appreciate everybody taking the time. I know it can seem really frustrating wanting to make sure that you're moving along with everybody and that everybody's on board, and yet wanting to push the train onto the track. So thanks for your patience, and we look forward to future discussion.
All right. So I'm just going to make one last comment. So what I'm going to do is I'll find that other sheet that you guys had sent out a while back that was a little bit more itemized. I'm not sure if that was public or if it was, I think it was in one of our packets, but what I'll do is I'll find that, and then I will get the access from Kyle for the budget so that everyone has the opportunity to look over it in their free time. And I think along with sending me some ideas next week about what you guys think that, excuse me, sorry, what you guys think about the logo and your opinions and stuff on it. I think it would be really awesome to include your questions, comments, concerns regarding the budget, specifically emphasize on the local aspect of it, just so we can have all of that. And I might put the date a little bit earlier since the meeting would be after the 24th. So I might say that by next Wednesday, if I could have your budget ideas, that would be incredible. Questions and concerns. And I will let Steph know, and I'll send her an email after. Perfect.
Can I make a request that if there is so I think that the budget that was shown tonight should be included as maybe a late handout for our current packet for today's meeting. And then if there is an updated budget after some of our local partners meet in the next couple of days, it'd be helpful to have that version before we provide you questions mid next week. And then if there is, a closer to finalized version of the budget proposal before our next meeting, if we can make sure that that is included for the packet so that the public can have their hands on that as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll send Kyle and ask him to send all of that information and make sure that that's included in the late handout. All right, the next.
Want to be clear that the local people, we have no control over the budget. So you have to get it through Kyle. I can barely get in. So I just want to make sure you're not going to wait on us for any updates to that. So just to be super clear.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. I'll get all that info from Kyle and I will send you guys questions, comments, concerns.
Actually, if Angie or V could send me what they showed on the screen would be easiest in terms of a late handout.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Do you mind? Yeah.
So I can't. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
I can't actually download that. It's protected. So I can't even save it. Yeah. So you'll have to get it from Kyle. That's what I was trying to say is I would love to send that to you right now, but it's not letting me download or save it.
Thank you.
So
I'll send Kyle a text right after this meeting's over and ask him to open it up for us.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You're just not cool enough to have access to it whenever you want. It's fine.
It's not the first time.
The number 8 agenda item is announcements of commissioners or staff. I'm going to start with commissioners that are online. commissioners that are in person. Oh, Daphne, go ahead.
At our last meeting, I said something that that has turned out to not necessarily be 100% true, although this is about Ukraine and some stuff going on with the students of color or the people of color who live there or who are studying there. And there does seem to be some mistreatment of them. Of course, who is doing the mistreatment is not clear. And what that really shows is even in times of crisis, people of color, the people who are easily dismissed often do get dismissed. And I'm very proud that we are trying to right that wrong and give a voice to those people. And I hope that one day on the other side of this, maybe Ukraine could also have a TRC. And with that, I yield.
Does anyone in here have any comments to make?
I appreciate that.
Okay, I have a comment to make. First is, and I'll make this at the next meeting again, April 2nd, UAY is holding their Pride Con. I'm going to be doing a 75-minute presentation on intersectionality in the queer space. It's going to be an awesome event. I love UAY. So if you guys have the opportunity to attend, that would be awesome. It'll be at Elizabeth Tate High School. And I can send you the details tomorrow about the time and stuff, Stephanie. And then the other thing is that Commissioner Rivera and I will be taking the course that is offered by Think Peace and the Truth Telling Project regarding transitional justice. So I just wanted to say thanks to the city and for Stephanie for doing the legwork for that because they're funding it, which is going to provide a huge amount of knowledge and help, I think, for this commission. So I feel really excited and humbled to be a part of that. Stephanie, do you have any?
Just to say, what happened earlier is once I turn the lights on, they're motion activated. So you guys need to move a little more up there and they should stay on and not dim on us like that. But that's why that happens, is because after so long, if it doesn't detect movement, then it's trying to conserve energy. And so it shuts them down. So.
All right.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
We discussed this before the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
I will say the update about the Scooter Workers Fund or whatever they changed the name to it of, and we don't know anything to say because we were still waiting on county officials to give out the full details. So the things that I've heard and saw, I don't want to make speculations about, but so that's all I can announce is that when I know more details and when it's going to start and when they're going to have it, because I do have to appreciate, the response that I got from them was, this is our first time doing this, so it may take some time. So we don't know, it's going to vary. So I do appreciate that and understand that they have that. So I just want to say that is not a change in when the money is going to be distributed or how, or the methods or the qualifications. It's just speculations and other things, but it does look, if you had to go off the speculations and the things that I saw, it does seem to be still unfair. So with that, I yield.
And just a clarification on that, that fund is actually open. It is available to apply for it on the Johnson County website. So the application for the American Rescue Plan funds is actually open. And if you look it up just like on the Johnson County website, you'd be able to find the information that you needed to regarding signing up for it. Just to clarify for you.
Yeah, because it really wasn't, it's been a lot of debate about it, but when it opened up, it wasn't a large, announcement about it. So I didn't, know about it. But I did see some of some of the qualifications. You had to be a resident of Johnson County since, I think, March 2020. You had to be a part of one
I
of the.
appreciate you so much, but you cannot respond to me. I'm really
My
sorry.
bad. You responded to me.
Sorry. It was a clarifying thing.
Nah, it's cool.
That's not against the law.
But,
Motion to adjourn.
Rivera second.
We're good.
Golden.
Well done.